higher for for this year, and anticipating 5.5% inflation for 2014 over 2013, and so that was not anticipated, and I think accounts for at least some of this on the base bid side, the construction side. Any other questions? Okay. So going forward, this is the recommended one. I'm going to show you the first one that we looked at, and you'll see why this one is recommended. But this is the one that includes no change to the project scope, and part of that is the budget, or sorry, is the schedule going forward. Knowing that this will be a shorter schedule, I'll show you that schedule on the next slide, and we'll have to account for less inflation. So again, on the top you see the funds available. Then as we calculated a rebid budget, what we didn't just say, all right, let's go with the low bidder, $20.8 million. We instead averaged the 5 lowest bidders, all those $21.5 million range as well as the 20.8. And so we're starting already with a higher number. You see it's 8.3% higher than the estimate. And then that has its 10% contingency that goes with it. But in addition to that, we added a few other things. There is the CDB has a fee, by the way. It's called the Construction Administration Fee. They get paid as part of the construction cost as well, and so this was added. They have a 3% fee, and so this is their added CAF fee. And then we provided an additional inflation number. So there was already perhaps a built-in cushion in the $21.444 million number, but then I think it's the responsible thing to do to suggest these numbers. We're hoping that they won't come in at these rates, but I think we have to suggest them with the extended schedule that we have here. So we're added another 3% inflation number for the added schedule, and that results in a total value for construction cost that's 11.6% over our estimate from August of last year. So now the revised FF&E estimate, and this is a number that we have done some vetting with faculty and staff since that earlier number from February 2014. That was the $2.3 million number. We have now, in this month in June, done some additional vetting and gotten that down to a number that I believe there's some comfort with. That's $500,000 less, that $1.85 million number. And so when you add the FF&E of 1.85 and the 24.2 number, we have a total estimated cost for FF&E and construction of just over 26 million, or a variance of $3.5 million. That is the difference from the current budget that we have right now. So the schedule for that is in mid-July. We would have these documents back to this is a schedule that we have vetted with the CDB. Mid-July we would have revised documents to them, released for bid in mid-August, and receive bids by the end of September, approval of bids by the end of November, and award of contract in December. New construction starting as early as February.
So what, we lose the fall?
We lose the fall.
Yeah.
That's correct. So the other alternative that we started with, and back in April and May, was this was the major adjustments for the rebid scope, because as Dave mentioned before, we were going to stay within the budget. We felt that was the thing to do, and so to do that, we had to make some design changes, and it involved removing the first floor. If some of you remember, on the first floor was the engineering curricula, largely all mechatronics, as well as LPO, which stands for laser photonics and optics. And so we were going to turn a 3-story building into a 2-story building, so both levels of science labs that were going to be on levels 2 and 3 would now move down to levels 1 and 2. The building also has a penthouse which wouldn't change, so there's a mechanical enclosed penthouse. But also, as I mentioned earlier, there is a significant amount of remodeling on the second floor of Building B, and we would reduce, and C as well, Building B and C, where the current chemistry functions are and a few others. But we are going to reduce that remodeling significantly, largely for microbiology, and then rethink what we were going to do with microbiology, and I believe staff and faculty were on board with this. And so the estimated cost savings for this was just over $3 million, and yet we had a target. We hadn't finished yet. We were still working on it, but we had a target of the cost reductions needed to rebid it again and considering inflation and a full 10% contingency that the CDB would require us to have. All that equated then into a cost reduction that was needed of $3.7 million. So we were, about $700,000 still. We had $700,000 worth of reduction yet to come up with.
Jeff, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
In the world of LEEDs, what level is this building?
Oh, we're on track for LEED Platinum, and that's the highest level.
Isn't there cost saving to lower that level a little bit and save some of the sustainability stuff? I mean, we're moving around students. We should be moving around sustainability. I mean, that stuff's expensive, isn't it?
Did we put the LEED in the motion? I thought we had it. Didn't we add money for the LEED? Didn't we add money for the LEED?
The board added $1.5 million.
You added the money for the LEED as part of all the projects when you did the master plan.
Yeah, but we so take it back. I mean, why do we need to go platinum? Let's go gold or silver or something. I mean, that's a lot of money, a lot of unproven technology that makes up this LEED stuff. Isn't there a way to save some money that way, or are we just sticking our heads in the sand?
Would that take a redesign of the building, Jeff?
It would if we considered taking away the geothermal system, because that is the physical plant for the building. That would be a total mechanical redesign, and that would be a difficult one.
And that would put us in this second alternative schedule then, because you'd have to redesign and rebid.
It would.
And the loop for that geothermal was rebid several times also, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we haven't bid any. We haven't bid any geothermal yet. None of that has been bid yet.
There was something on the loop that
okay.
or something.
So you're probably referring to one of your updates. There is a master plan project outside of this project that has a loop, and it has a geothermal system, and that is still being engineered and designed and estimated by the program manager, construction manager, and design team. Okay, and so that's kind of a separate thing, and it's not linked to this project, because it was kind of a fast starter. It started ahead of the master plan. It has its own unique geothermal system.
But again, there seems to be some issue with designing that and such in the updates. So what are those issues?
In terms of other scope, I'd say the geothermal would be the most difficult one to address. But the thing about LEED Platinum is that we knew as we started off with the goal for LEED Platinum that it's not just. I wish it could be as simple as just adding things and subtracting things. It's a whole integrated approach to design to achieve all the LEED. It's not an easy thing to do, to get, especially for a science building. And yet we are tracking the amount of credits for that. And so it's a long way to say it's not as easy as just deleting things. It really affects everything that went into the design of the building, including the very start, including the orientation of the building and the aperture, so to speak, or the openings of, amount of openings, glass openings and windows and things like that. And so I don't mean to be evasive, but it is a difficult one to.
I mean, would it be helpful if you reminded us then of the paybacks with the system we're gonna have? I mean, when are we gonna recoup if we decide to do the 3.5 million? Where does that come in here?
Do you remember anything about the page?
I mean, that would be helpful to put this in focus rather than us just perhaps, okay, $3.5 million, but to say, we're gonna recoup this dollars because you're doing it, LEED Platinum and the geothermal. I mean, I need more information here that I'm seeing.
I don't remember the exact dates, not sure if Scott does, but I know Vuk has been in front of you before, and I know he has mentioned numbers like a minimum of 30% energy savings in terms of the actual years, the amount of payback in years